Hello, beautiful people. Happy new moon. I am very excited to share the energy, the magic, what is coming through for this new lunar cycle of Aries. And yes, Taurus season actually starts in 2 days as I'm recording this, Friday, April 17th, 2026, of course. And it's the day of the new moon in Aries. But then we have a Taurus, we switch over to Taurus season, solar season here on April 19th, I believe. So this is a really interesting time, and I'm really feeling the shifting of energy. I'm really feeling kind of this dance, honestly, between Saturn and Neptune. It's been really profound for me personally. I've noticed how it's been showing up in other people's lives, and I'm really looking forward to sharing the magic and just the excitement of the energy right now, because I know I've seen all kinds of, honestly, perspectives. I've seen the perspective of gloom and doom as far as Saturn and Neptune, and possibly Mars and Saturn having their alignment in Aries. And then I'm also personally feeling into like the dissolving of boundaries and the blending of realities. And, I guess if you're not comfortable with that, then this could be a bit of a challenging time. And I've also been seeing from other astrologers and spiritual practitioners the excitement of having seven planets. Planets are also, we're considering sun and moon, but seven of these celestial bodies in Aries. That's a lot of energy in Aries, especially with the nature of what we're seeing in the world right now. I think it's a very powerful statement of within this celestial time period. And so I am going to share my screen with you here in a bit to show you this alignment just as a visual. So you can see if you've been feeling a lot of intensity within you, like restlessness. Like, I know personally I've been feeling inspired to act internally, but then when it comes to actually taking the action, I've been moving very slow. Like, I've still been taking action, but things have been moving slow, or I've just been doing one thing here, one thing there. And then I've just also been existing, which is kind of like the essence of Aries. Aries just wants to be in the moment. It wants to show up when it needs to show up. It wants to act when it needs to act. And just exist. And so I have honestly been honoring that Aries energy myself. I'm curious if you have. And also I have been taking in consideration of, just the responsibilities I have here in this reality. So let's just get right into it. So, as I mentioned, we are coming close to Taurus season, and I'm looking forward to Taurus season because I feel it's going to be really powerful in reference to the amplification of Aries with this lunar cycle. And then very quickly after, we have the sun's transition into Taurus. So there's going to be a shift in the energy as we begin to move even closer to Beltane, which is May 1st, which is the peak of summer. We will start to, or sorry, not the peak of summer, the peak of spring, we'll start to really um kind of anchor in this earth energy, the spirit of nature. Our intentions start to really lay the foundation for what is already coming to life in our reality, right? So the veil is essentially thinning. I think I mentioned this here before. The veil is thinning in the northern hemisphere towards life. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's thinning towards death, right? So the southern hemisphere, there's more a focus of coming inward and resting, and just beginning to reflect on, the previous season, the previous, cycle of, as far as like the weather patterns, in the southern hemisphere. So you guys, even though technically this is still like a new calendar year, like in this sort of southern hemisphere as well, this is their period of rest and reflection, or starting to slow things down. And so you are kind of moving in the space of creating compost and richness from what you've experienced during those active parts of the year, which was last year. Um, but in the northern hemisphere, as I mentioned, the veil is thinning towards life. And so we're starting to really see the natural world awaken around us. So we're seeing, flowers coming up, starting to come up from the earth and bloom. And we're starting to see the leaves budding on the trees, flowers budding on the trees, more wildlife out and about. The birds are singing. It's a beautiful time. And personally, for me, I've been witnessing nature spirits. I have really been spending like a lot of time outside in a very short period of time outside in my backyard. And just because it's been really warm and sunny, which is rare here this time of year. And so yeah, I've been spending time in my backyard, and I have been just present with the energy. I've really been enjoying listening to the birds, feeling the wind, and I had some very powerful spiritual experience of like seeing beyond the veil and really connecting with creatures within, like tree spirits and so forth. And so it's been a really powerful time. And this goes right into what I have been sensing with this Aries lunar cycle, specifically also this week. I felt earlier in the week, I had just this knowing, this, I guess you could say, download come through that with Moon, Mercury, and Mars moving through Aries and making, of course, they made their connection with Neptune and then Saturn, and I believe Mercury is going to align with Saturn next week. But nonetheless, with all of these energies here co-present with Neptune and Saturn, their roles, their essence is getting stimulated, is getting activated. And with Neptune and Saturn together, I'm really sensing that there is a dissolving of a boundary, of a wall, or some sort of limitation, some sort of boundary that has been keeping you separate from your soul's desires, your core vision, your dreams, your intentions, whatever it is that you truly desire at this time. And you've been doing the work to, bring to manifestation, to bring into reality. If you play your cards right. And what I mean by that, if you're doing the inner work, if you are, being present with your environment, with yourself essentially, and, just being aware and just doing the best that you can, following your excitement and so forth, you will have this boundary, this veil dissolve right in front of you. Like things will just become more clear. You'll start to see things. Like I mentioned, I have been really actually seeing spirits, nature spirits, you could say, I guess human spirits, but a friend and I determined that it's more than likely a guardian of this land that I live on. And so it came through as a person, but is it really a person, or is that how it presented itself to me? Because this particular area of my yard, there is like a lot of activity basically within nature spirits. So I think it's all connected. And so this is the time where we're probably going to even physically see some things. Like you'll start to see things manifest. You'll start to experience more profound mystical moments and synchronicities. And I see Neptune is always the experience of, what is really real, right? Your perception, your beliefs about reality, about existence, about, you know, the divine, the universe. When Neptune is activated, connected with by, a planet or some other sort of placement in the chart, it will bring forth the contemplation or an experience that expands your consciousness and gets you to think, okay, what is really real? Like, what reality am I living in? It is really the essence of connecting more deeply with the divine by through this process essentially of disillusionment, right? To really go through this process of like when the mind is expanding, when the consciousness is expanding, we are seeing a little bit more. Our perception is deepening. Basically, we're seeing a little bit more. We are able to um just like see in many different ways, perceive in many different ways. Like when I did see spirit in my yard that was more human like, I felt it, I saw it, and I also had a physiological response to it. But like, I very rarely ever see anything like spirits. I very rarely see it with my, physical eyes. It's generally with my mind's eye, or you could say your third eye. Like, it'll come like as a vision within my mind. But this time it was with the physical eye, right? And so our levels, our abilities of perception are expanding, are deepening. And Saturn, of course, Saturn is the definition, is the boundary, is, the structure, the physical manifestation in a sense. And so the way I see this working together, again, if you are leaning into your spiritual and personal evolution, if you are really allowing yourself to just, if you're going deeper within yourself, like journeying through the universe, which is a nice little plug for my podcast on dreams, astral travel, and mysticism. So definitely check it out, Journey Through the Universe. But if you're journeying through the universe, through your inner world, you are naturally creating this reality that's in alignment with what is beyond our levels of perception here in this physical reality, right? And so there's so much going on. There's so many different extremes of existence, of perspective, war, but also like amazing bliss and prosperity and opportunity. And if you're doing the work and you're in alignment with your true being as best as you can be. We're not perfect. We're still learning and really peeling back the layers of ourselves to really feel and know who we truly are. But the more you do that, the more you are creating this reality that is in alignment with that. And so with Aries energy, Aries is taking initiative. Aries is that courageousness to be present, to be you, and to just take some risks, enjoy your life, act now and think later. It's like one of the sayings I really enjoy associating with Aries energy. But there is this fire spirit. It's like striking a match. It's inspired action, it's courageousness, and it's presence. And so this is what we are initiating our lunar cycle with. Now I'm going to share my screen and show you the lineup here that we have at this moment. So I'm just going to make it very current here. So yeah. And right now, where this is in my location, I love that I'm recording this right now. Oh, and I'm looking at it because this Aries energy is at the very, basically the top of the sky, essentially. And so it's peaking. It is coming into pure visibility. Like, I can't obviously see it, but it essentially, like, the essence, the energy is so profound right now, and I'm feeling it as I'm having this conversation. But you see, we have the sun, or we have the moon, sorry, the moon here, the sun here, in both in Aries. Now the moon is at 29 degrees, the sun is at 27. So I think that I mentioned, I don't know if I did, but basically the new moon has already happened. That alignment has already happened. So I'm recording this at 10:44 a.m. And I believe the new moon was around 7 a.m. or give or take. But I know it was like in the hour of 7 here in East on Eastern time. And so then we have Chiron, which is the indication of wounds. And in this case, it'll be collective wounds that we're tending to, but also growing through and sharing and teaching or guiding and helping others, or in the sense, the collective, right? So tapping into that fighter spirit, that independence, and just being connected to your own presence and your identity. So with Aries, there is a strong focus on the self. So there's that self-will, self-drive, that initiating energy, and a strong willpower and bravery. And so then we have Saturn here, which Saturn is the planet in reference to discipline, structure, definition. It's creating the boundaries, it's setting the tone, setting, like, yeah, the definitions. How do we define this, whether it's actual borders, whether it's rules, whether it's like the method and how things work? Like, how do we define, so with a clear definition, this becomes reality, right? And in order to really define the boundaries, define the rules of quote unquote existence or of reality, of even or even whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve, we have to have like an understanding of that. We have to have like a belief or a definition to bring that into reality. So Saturn is here helping us bring our dreams, which we'll talk about here with Neptune, but bringing whatever it is that we want to initiate, whatever is being activated within us. Saturn is bringing that here to bringing it down to earth, essentially. We have Mars here in Aries as well. Mars is very natural in Aries. It's at home, it's its comfort zone, it's very strong, and like in a sense, it's grounded. And so this is where we will likely experience that inspired action, right? And but also I'm going to say Mars and Aries, it can also just the natural vibe of Aries. There could be like a lot of restlessness, right? Like I said, I'm feeling inspired within, but when it comes to actually taking action, I've been moving so slow. And that could be as a result, just seeing this reflection. Like I want to also say the way I perceive astrology is that it's not that it's causing us to do it. I feel that it is a reflection of our inner being individually and collectively, especially when we're considering transit. So what we're seeing in the essentially in this energetic blueprint, because we're not necessarily seeing it in this in the sky, and also there's the matter of like quote unquote where things actually are, right? But in the context of this energetic outline or mapping, we're seeing our inner world, our inner experience reflected here as an outer expression, right? So that's the whole as above, so below. And so Mars being very close to Saturn in this way is essentially can create like this slow energy, can create delays in action, delays in movement. And so if you're feeling that, like you're not crazy. Like that's the vibe, that's the energy right now. And I'm totally experiencing it myself, which is why you're receiving this video on Friday instead of earlier in the week. Now, I will say that I always want to honor my own energy as best I can while also taking action. And that is, again, the vibe of Mars and Saturn. It's like being integrity with your own truth, Mars, being present with your own energy, Mars, but then also having the discipline to still take action in the way that is best aligned with you, which is Saturn. So we have Mercury here, also in Aries. Mercury is that fast communication. It's more like speaking without maybe thinking, or just like ideas coming through and inspiring ideas, inspiring communications and energy exchange. Um, and this is all basically sandwiched between, we have Mars and Mercury sandwiched here between Neptune and Saturn. So Neptune, as I mentioned, it is, I would say Neptune is the veil, or it's kind of the master, or the um like it kind of manages the veil, I guess you could say. I don't like the word manage either. Like the custodian, maybe guardian of the veil. That's better. Guardian of the veil. So Neptune, when it's activated, will kind of, play around a little bit, dissolve the veil, or like, things might appear, then disappear, or things might be a little bit hazy, but you're like, things may have been tangible before, but now you can't really grasp it because Neptune is like being stimulated and just doing its thing. So there's like this nebulousness of Neptune. And so, but Neptune holds like the bigger visions, the dreams, the like connection to multi dimensions and all of that. And so like that expanded consciousness, that expanded perception. And so having Mars and Mercury between between Neptune and Saturn can be, it's a lot. Like you might not feel like you want to make some moves right now, or maybe you feel you do, but when it comes to taking action or speaking about it, it might be a little bit challenging. So if you're feeling that, know that, just be gentle with yourself. I know it can be frustrating, but you're not crazy. And it's literally the energetic climate right now. But with Neptune and Saturn, as I mentioned, they are really, I feel, working together if you give them the opportunity, the space, and kind of the directive. Like if you're working in alignment with it, then they will be of benefit together. And the way I see that in working in alignment is that you are taking initiative to, I'm going to stop sharing. You're taking initiative to like peek behind the veil, to see behind the veil or beyond the veil. And with that seeing, you're also taking time to not like understand per se, but to understand. Um, and to really let it integrate. That's the most important part. Letting it integrate and letting it come to you. So really balancing that masculine and feminine energy. Like the divine feminine is so strong, and I've been feeling, I think the last video I did was I was talking about this wave of divine feminine energy activating or expanding our consciousness in some ways. And so that balance is receiving the energy, like perceiving, right? Taking that in through our levels of perception. And then we let that inform us on how to take action. So then that masculine aspect is taking action, right? But I love with Saturn here, like Saturn kind of right in the middle of everything. It's like taking your time. We're going to do this right. We're going to like be very clear and even practical and methodical. So it's this nice balance of practical, but then also like mystical and, you know, multidimensional kind of experience. And so with all of this energy in Aries, there's so much momentum coming forth and just like, all right, I feel it. I'm inspired. I really want to act bold. I want to like make a statement and do something different than I've done before, right? And then with Aries, one of the things that tends to happen is that they're so excited in the moment. They have all these ideas, but then when it comes to the follow through, if that fire can leave just as quickly and intensely as it came through. And this is why I love when just the celestial timing just works out so perfectly that literally we have this activation here with the new moon initiating this energy what I just spoke about for this lunar cycle. So you could say for the next 28 days, but of course it's going to be ongoing, right? What is time? But then just 2 days later, we are shifting into Taurus season. So our like inspired, our inspiration, our connection to divine intelligence, that life force energy where that is being generated is going to be in Taurus, which is that stability, dependability, security, like slowing down, like being very sensual and just like anchoring in, creating the foundation. So we still have kind of this slowness energy. And so again, we're human. So, you know, sometimes it'll be an exciting, fun experience. Sometimes we'll be probably frustrated and feel like nothing's working out and so forth. But, you know, this is what we're working with. And the best thing to do is just be in your energy, act when, you know, you feel that inspired action, tune into your excitement and just do the best you can. Like have grace for yourself. Um so I think I touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. This is like the energy I'm really happy about it. And I want to just share here because yeah, I feel very clear and complete. Two announcements I have. So this Sunday, April 19th, 11:11 a.m., I'm going to be doing my monthly Starseed live chat with Jackie, and we're going to talk about the Starseed calling. So basically how you may know that that star seed within you is beginning to sprout, right? You're feeling the calling. So we're going to talk about the different signs of the star seed calling and awakening and so forth. So if you have any questions or you want to chat with us, like in the live chat, please join us live. That would be so exciting. And then on April 26th, which is not this Sunday coming up, but next Sunday, I am teaching a virtual class, a dream class on overcoming nightmares and anxious dreams. It's going to be, like I said, online, 2 p.m. Eastern time. But I'm pretty sure you can obviously join from anywhere in the world. There won't be a recording, so it'll have to be a class, a time that you can make live. It's through Ritual Craft School, but the link is going to be in the description of this video. So I would love to see you there as well. If you want to talk about nightmares and anxious dreams and hear about my techniques on how to navigate that, because I used to be called the Queen of Nightmares, and that's not a fun title to receive, honestly, but I have a lot of experience with nightmares and anxiety in the dream space. So I hope to see you in one or both of those spaces. But until then, happy new moon, and I will see you again soon.